Going back to last episode, this is the perfect movie because you still owe us $40.
I do not, because I never agreed to it.
Well, then maybe you should call up your buddy Richie Rich and have him spot you for this one.
Welcome back to Crosscut, everyone. I'm your co-host, Chris.
And I'm your other co-host, Josh.
And that is exactly it for this week's episode. Richie Rich. We gotta go back, we're still in the 90s. Kick, we got the Little Giants in honor of the Super Bowl coming up. And we did Blank Check before that. So let's keep
You
going.
just got you just got money on your mind, man. Like you chose blank check. Now
Yeah, I
you're
guess
choosing
so.
Richie Rich. You just like do you have money problems? Like do you need a couple bucks?
I mean, I wish I was a billionaire.
Okay.
Richie
To
Rich.
be fair, I've been setting this up kind of for a while because I feel like every episode I kind of keep bringing it up like, oh,
Yes.
I remember watching Richie Rich a couple weeks ago. So I feel like you chose this because I kept planning it in your head.
I think so because and not just because of Richie Rich, but we kept talking about Macaulay Culkin and Home Alone,
Mm.
Home 2. Like, I haven't seen Richie Rich since I was a
Probably
kid.
since you were a kid, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And um, it was the same for me. I had actually rewatched this movie a few weeks back
Right.
because right after the holidays, of course, watching Home Alone 2, I
Right.
just got on this kind of kick. I was like, yeah, I just kind of feel like watching some Macaulay Culkin movies. And of course, the first one that came to mind after Home Alone and Home Alone 2 was Richie Rich.
Of course.
So I did watch that, and then I watched the Page Master as well. Funny
Um,
enough, I may have mentioned this in an episode. He doesn't have a ton of kids movies after Home
no?
Alone 2. It was just those two, and he did. Do you ever see The Good Son with him? Him and
No, never
Elijah
saw
Wood?
that. Never saw that.
No? Wow, that's a crazy movie. It's like dark,
Okay.
like it's rated R. It's a dark movie. No, like
Okay.
okay, all right. This is a
Off
Richie Rich
topic.
episode. I'm gonna go on a little Good Son rant here. So Elijah Wood, I think he goes to live with his aunt, uncle, and their kids. And one of the
Okay.
kids, his cousin, is Macaulay Culkin, and he's like signs of like a serial killer when he gets older. He like does
Oh,
terrible stuff. And you should watch it. It's a crazy movie.
what's it
It's
called
dark,
again?
like The Good Son.
The Good Son. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe a future episode we'll see. But it's a dark movie. So he did that kind of around the time he was doing these kids movies, and I think people were just like shocked, like what the hell? Like Kevin McCallister is fucking dropping F-bombs and like as a kid, and
Dang.
yeah, it's a
Oh.
wild movie.
Well,
Anyways,
I mean, he does set deadly traps for those
well, he is
robbers.
Jigsaw technically before Jigsaw,
Yeah, pretty much.
and he
Anyway,
is the richest kid in the world.
and he's the richest kid in the world. Richie Rich, son of Richard Rich Sr. and what was her name? Regina Rich.
Regina
So I
and
watched this movie
Dollar,
today.
right? That's a dog, Dollar.
Yeah, dollar,
Dollar.
dollar. And I watched this today because I had no other time to do it.
Well,
Um,
it's fresh in your mind, so it makes
it
most
is fresh
sense.
in my mind. And before we uh I told you today that I had something related to the movie
Yeah.
that it is what an original movie poster
What? Wow.
of
A
Richie
Richie Rich
Rich.
movie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, where did you get that?
Well, this was my brother's, and I think it might have been somewhere on, I don't know, because it had like coupons to Six Flags and Best Western on it.
Oh, okay.
So
Huh.
I have
All
no
right.
idea exactly where it came from. I'd have to ask. But
Okay.
I've had this for years. For years. I had to take out all of my posters just to find it.
Okay. That's cool. An original Richie Rich poster. You
Yeah.
probably don't see a ton of those around anymore.
No, no. I mean, that's probably more than 30 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool.
Seeing it again as an adult, I look back to it like, damn, he really did have he had it good. He really did.
Well, isn't that the theme of the movie? Is he has it good, but he doesn't have everything,
He doesn't have
right?
everything. The whole thing of money can't buy you happiness.
Hmm.
You know? And you can tell he was like very lonely too, because his dad is always working. Like he's playing catch with his dad while he's working.
He has his adult friends that are trying their best. He has
Yeah.
Cadbury,
Yes,
who's
Cat.
trying his best, but he still has to be the responsible adult. He can't just be like his best friend. It's not like in Blank Check where we had Henry, the
Right.
the driver. He was just kind of a kid himself. Like these are adults that are just trying to, be there for the
Right.
kid.
Be there for him. Exactly. Throughout the movie, I was thinking like every actor in that movie, I've seen same thing. I've seen him in something else.
Hmm.
It was happening again, just like Blank Check, like Cadbury. The only
Hmm.
other movie I can think of him in, Jumanji.
Oh no, Jonathan Hyde, man, that dude was in a lot of stuff in the 90s. I'm gonna name some movies and you're gonna be like, oh, that's
Okay,
right, he was in
okay,
that.
okay.
So first off, The Mummy. He's in The
Oh my
Mummy.
God, yes. The Mummy. The Mummy.
Titanic.
Oh my God, yes.
Um, Anaconda.
Isn't that Anaconda?
Yeah, he's in Anaconda.
Oh shit, I haven't seen that in a while, so.
Actually, funny, I like Jonathan Hyde. He was one of those actors who, as a kid, he was in everything. Well,
Yeah.
it felt like when you see
Well,
somebody in like a lot of movies that you just always say that guy was in everything.
right,
But he
right,
but he was in a lot of stuff growing up. Like yes, he was. I remember him from Richie Rich. I remember him from Jumanji. Those were definitely the big two. And
right.
then of course Titanic,
The Mummy.
The Mummy, Anaconda. Yeah, I mean I've seen it once or twice, but I do remember him in that. And then after like the two or after because that was the 90s, and then in the
Right.
2000s, I never saw him in anything again since. And I looked at his
Okay.
IMDb. He's done stuff. I think he's mostly does like in British stuff. But I
Yeah.
was just like I
Okay.
never he was in a lot of 90s stuff and then just kind of
Mhm.
disappeared from the American spotlight. It was kind of interesting.
Oh, I mean, I think a lot of British actors do that. They eventually go back to their origins. Mhm.
I guess maybe that's what happened with him. But yeah, Jonathan Hyde. So yeah, he's definitely been in a few things from our childhood.
But like the first thing
Um,
that comes to mind is always Jumanji, though. Always
Jumanji, yeah.
Jumanji.
Of
And
course.
then, of course, you have Rich, Richie's dad. The
Hmm.
one movie that comes to mind
Wait,
is,
can I guess? I was just gonna say the Lost Boys, yeah.
yes, The Lost Boys.
Which is so funny because he's like the sort of the villain in Lost Boys, but
I
he's
know
like the
it's
good
very
good dad in this.
completely
So
different.
yeah, yeah. The
Right.
kids, I don't know any of those kids from anything besides Macaulay Culkin. I
I
have
don't
looked them up, and I don't
either.
think they really did a ton.
I thought
Yeah.
one of them, the one with the shades, I thought he was in the Sandlot, but they were like, no, that's the wrong kid.
Oh, did you think he was? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
He does look. I guess yeah, he kind of looks like him.
kind of. I was like, I had to question it first, like, no, he's not in the Sandlot.
Yeah, I
And
don't think those kids did anything, or even the one girl, Gloria. I don't think her mom. Like I looked her up. I was like, she looks familiar, but she wasn't in a
then,
ton. Chelsea Ross, who plays like the kind of the bodyguard, he's been in a lot of stuff. Um,
I
I
like
just watched.
his face. I can see his face, but I can't
He
think of
was
any
he
movie.
was in. I just watched it the other day, The Majestic with Jim Carrey. He's in The
Oh, okay.
Majestic, smaller
Okay.
role, and then he's appeared in some other stuff. I think he was in Rudy,
Okay.
and yeah, he's one of those guys that's just like he looks familiar. You definitely seen him in something.
But he's always like a secondary character.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling. And it's same thing, the professor, the
Oh yeah. He's is he Tower of Terror? Is he that guy from the Kirsten Dunst Steve Guttenberg? He plays the um heir to the hotel guy that doesn't want to go in. You know what I'm
I
talking
don't
about?
know.
I think he's also in he might be in Office Space, I think. Well, in the comment section, if he is the guy from Tower of Terror, I'm not gonna look it up right now. Please
Right.
let me know if I'm right. And if I'm right, Chris owes another 10 bucks. That's up to 50.
Stop with the money. I don't know anything. You
It's a
mentioned
movie
all these.
about money. We're keeping this going until you pay the debt, Chris.
What that? I never agreed to anything.
You are virtually agreeing to these, and you better start getting some info right, because I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
be in the hole soon. So you're already in the hole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when
Well,
did this movie really take off, Chris? Is it when he meets the kids, and then the kids decide that they want to kind of hang out with him?
pretty much because I mean, in the beginning, you just see him like his life story growing up.
Well, this
And
movie has two big story points at a
mm,
certain time. It's the story of he meets the kids and they become friends. And
right,
then it's the story of his parents disappearing and everything happens there. And then
right.
eventually he like kind of gets kicked out and they have to like sneak back in. Like those are like the two big storylines of the movie. And I know this is based off of a comic, right?
Yeah, so I saw that. It was like Harvey Comics or something like that.
Okay, yeah, because and then I think I want to say there was like a cartoon back in the
I don't know.
maybe
I don't know.
there might have been. I could be wrong, but I definitely think yeah, based off comic strip, and then yeah, but yeah. So I didn't really. I mean, I don't. Besides this movie, I don't know anything about Richie Rich, like the lore or whatever.
I don't remember much anything either. I just remember watching it and loving it because, hey, it's Kevin McCallister. He's rich. Uh,
Yeah.
but and
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say like, you you know he's rich and he's not spoiled. And he's never you never see him like a spoiled rich kid. Like he has his
Right, which
things,
you
you know,
see
he
that with like some of his kids in his class. Like there's that one that one kid
the
who
cappuccino kid.
yeah, I always love that he's so like silly and just kind of like dainty and just like the way he talks. It's
He's
funny. So
the literal rich kid brat.
exactly.
That's exactly what he is. But that scene always makes me laugh. They're like, "This is I wanted a cappuccino, not this latte, whatever." You gotta cover your ear. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
I wanted to ask you, Macaulay Culkin, what did you
I
make of him in this movie? What do you make of his
mean,
performance?
I like his performance because it's a little bit different from like playing Kevin, but you still see those Kevin moments. Um,
So, okay, I wanted to bring that up because there's only one moment that made me in this movie that makes me think the filmmakers were like, we need a Home Alone moment, and it's
Let me
when
guess.
Claudia Schiffer. Okay, go ahead. If I didn't already
What?
spoil it.
I didn't hear you.
Okay, then go ahead.
I mean, I thought it was the one Kevin moment that I really saw was during like the fight scene at the end that he he's about to throw the ladder back on him. He does that on Home Alone 2, I think, in the exact
Okay,
same way.
there wasn't that I was thinking, but sure, I guess sure, yeah. The moment I was thinking is when he's in bed and the trainer comes in, it's Claudia
Oh,
Schiffer, and he
yeah.
looks right at the camera and he goes, "Yikes!" Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
straight out of like Home Alone.
Yikes.
Yep.
Like to me, that's what the filmmakers were like. We just need
Some Home
because okay,
Alone. I mean,
exactly
it was
because
right there. Like, what was it, a year before or something like that?
2 years before was Home Alone
Years.
2, so 4 years before would have been original Home Alone. My point in all this, the reason I asked is because I think Macaulay Culkin's performance in this, rewatching it as an adult, is
Mhm.
very awkward. I think
Mhm.
he's going through that preteen, early teen
Yeah.
stage, and I think it shows in this movie. That's it's very like you could tell he's trying to do the like sort of like rich person, kind of
Mhm.
like very well spoken. And
Right.
but at the same time, for me watching it, I'm like, he seems like he's going through his like awkward phase in life. And
Okay.
I didn't think his performance is very good in this movie. I hate to say it for any Macaulay Culkin fans out there. I don't think he's very good in this movie. I'm just being honest. As an
Mhm.
adult rewatching this movie, I don't think he's very good. And that's why I think like that one scene where he goes, "Yikes!" Like they wanted that. Like we need that personality. We need that Kevin
That being a
McCallister.
kid.
Yeah, and to be fair, I it could just be the writing wasn't great for him. I think there's a lot of funny characters around him. I just think him himself is just kind of plain.
Well, I don't think he was meant to be funny because, like, a lot of stuff he does, he's very like mature. He's more mature for his
Yes,
age. So
right.
I never saw him funny.
And that's what I meant with like the way he speaks and things like
Right.
that. And yeah, it doesn't come off funny. So they try to find those like little moments in there to do that. But at the same time, keep in mind he's probably like 13 when he's filming this movie.
Hmm.
And maybe he wanted to do something different. He didn't want to do like, to be like the silly kid anymore, and he wanted to try to
Right.
do a mature thing. I just think it kind of came off a little, I don't know, for a kid's movie, he's I don't think it was a great performance, and I could see why this was, I think, one of his last movies because maybe he
Hmm.
was getting to that point where he's just like, I'm not the cute kid anymore, and I don't know if this is going to keep
Maybe,
working,
maybe.
or he's just burnt out in general. Who knows?
What else? And I've always enjoyed this movie because it's fun. Uh, Even the like the things that he has around the house, like his own McDonald's and uh
So so when I when I watched this the one night a few weeks ago, I went to McDonald's after the watch the movie because I was like, all right, that's fucking great product placement right there. Because man, I'm in the mood for some McDonald's. I'll
yeah,
admit it. It
you
suckered
got
me,
the
man.
big
It got in my
golden
head.
arch right in front of you.
Oh yeah. Do you think those employees have to pay for that, or do you think it's just like all comp to like you work here, you free McDonald's? I mean, they're
Oh,
billionaires. What are you gonna make your, if you work at Google, they have like free cafeterias for their employees. So
true. I mean, you see the professor just walking out of there with
he's got a bunch of stuff. He's
with
a
like a
hungry,
bunch of like burgers and nuggets and
Oh
everything.
yeah. But yeah, man, he's got his own McDonald's. He's got his own roller coaster. He's got his own, what is it, catapult that he has as well?
It's a catapult.
Catapult, sure. Which
Catapult.
comes back in the, at the end, which is
Yeah, I
dope.
like that. Like some things that he has, you can tell they're way for a billionaire, like the damn roller coaster, which I think is fun as hell. Come on.
Which also, you just have a roller coaster that probably just sits there most of the time and no one uses it, which is kind of a, I don't know. Don't you have to like, I mean, again, it's a kid's
Well,
movie, but
either
like, don't you
way.
need to like test that stuff, make sure it's like,
I mean
up to
they
code?
exact yeah, but like you said, they're billionaires. They probably someone comes around every week or something like that to test it.
Where do you
Same
think they
thing with the
shot that? Because
catapult.
that's obviously they didn't build a roller coaster for this movie. I'm sure they went to like some theme park and then
Oh yeah.
probably angled the camera certain ways to make it look like it's his backyard.
Now
What no
Mountain
no go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
What were you
gonna
gonna
say
say?
Mount Richmore.
Yeah, Mount Richmore. What'd you make of the villain of this movie? John Larroquette.
Well, let's see. I don't know. It just reminds me of Billy Madison a lot
Okay.
because of
When
that,
he when
trying
he's
to
not
take over
na
the
when
company.
he's not narrating the opening credits for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he's playing the villain in a kids movie.
See,
That's
I
the
don't
first thing I ever knew him from. He's
from
kind of
Texas
I know he
Chainsaw.
did like no, Richie Rich.
No. Yeah, I think that's the only one I can remember him in is Richie Rich, honestly.
I know he's in like Night Court. That was like a TV show that he was like popular in, and that just came back.
I don't know.
I've seen him in like an episode of Parks and Rec. He's been in some other stuff. He's definitely like a face that I've seen elsewhere. But oh, I think he was in this like one kind of indie movie I've seen called Southland Tales.
I don't know. I just know that I remember from Richie Rich and that I thought he was playing as a villain.
Oh, you think he was kind of being like cartoony?
Yeah, like
Well, to be fair, it's
that's
based off
why
of a cartoon comic strip, so maybe that's
true,
the idea.
but I don't know why I compare it to Billy Madison and it was the same kind of character. It's like except that he's less douchey, but compared to Billy Madison, but yeah, he's just there. He's trying to take over the company, wants to get rid of them, and uh, I don't know. I didn't really care for his character. I just didn't. I thought
Well,
it was boring.
he's the bad guy in the 90s kids movie. It's
Yeah, I
they're
just thought
they're
he was
they're not the
boring.
greatest. They're not the greatest villains.
No, like I would.
He's no Hans Gruber, I'll say that.
Oh, that's for sure. But like just having him be like a little like snake in a way, or trying to go around it, getting his hands dirty, and like the becoming his legal guardian just so he can have access to the rich funds. Eh, eh. There was barely any interaction with Richie Rich.
Well, he didn't care about him. He didn't
I
care about the
know,
kid. He just wanted the money.
I know, but like the main character is him, and he doesn't even interact that much. I don't know. I thought it was just, eh. That's my opinion, though.
All right. Well,
You liked him as
Chris,
villain?
I think he's fine. I think he's a fine villain. He's a comedic actor, and he was playing that way.
Yeah, yeah,
If he was trying to be too serious, then maybe the movie doesn't work as a kids movie. I don't know.
true.
I mean, sure, maybe you could have went for a scarier villain, or maybe had another villain and they were co-villains, and one could have been the serious one, and one could have been like Home Alone. But
Right.
maybe that would have been too like Home Alone, to have the
Trying to look
hard ass and then have the
more.
goofball.
Yeah, I guess so. Because then you
Maybe
have
that's
the head of
why they
security
had.
guard.
Well, yeah, because the head of security, Chelsea Ross, he was kind of more like the hard headed one,
Yeah,
like the serious one. So
yeah.
maybe that was like the idea, but who knows?
I wouldn't say it's a big wow movie.
It's
Like,
definitely a movie from our childhood that I
yeah,
bet 9 out of 10 people if you pull somebody off the street, age range, I'll say 30 to 40,
oh,
and you go Richie Rich, they'll go, oh, Macaulay Culkin. I bet
yeah,
like 9 out of 10 people would do something like that.
yeah, yeah. Other than millennials, I mean, millennials, further than millennials, younger, they won't know who the hell Richie Rich is.
God, they'll probably be like, is that like a TikTok star or something?
It sounds
Is
like
that
it sounds
Richie
like
Rich?
a
Is
TikTok.
that a rapper or yeah?
It does sound like one, actually. Yeah.
This is another one of those millennial type of movies that honestly, yeah, if you're not in the specific age range, then if you're too young, never heard of it. If you're too old, you're probably like, I remember that movie, but I never watched it, or maybe like my kids watched it or my younger brother watched it. But
Right. Yeah.
like if you're in that certain bubble of the age range, this feels, this is in your zeitgeist of nostalgia, and
Yeah.
it is for us. Did you watch
Exactly.
it on VHS growing up, I'm assuming?
Yes, it was on
Okay.
VHS. Hmm.
Same. This was a home video movie for me. Pop it
Yeah.
in and
Yeah.
watch it, and yeah.
Yeah. Stop, rewind.
Yep. What'd you make of this movie does become a little espionage movie at the end. They got to break back into, was it Rich
Uh,
Manor? Is that what it's called?
I think it's called a Rich Manor. I don't know, but I don't remember if
Okay.
they ever even mention it.
I thought I had a name, but maybe not. But they
I
got to
mean, it would
break
make sense to
in.
be called Rich Manor, but
Yeah.
I like it. Like, I don't know why the scene where the shot where they're behind the wall, and then you see the fountain in the house and
Hmm.
everything. It just reminded me of Princess Bride so much.
Okay.
You know. But I like the the going back into it, um, into the house with the catapult, the distraction with the manure. Um, I think I
And
would
then,
like it if it was a lot more trying to get in, like passing more guards and stuff like that. But like they just kind of he just went in.
and then what's the name of the device he uses for his dad locator? Was it the dad finder
The
or
dad
the
link.
Hey, Lincoln,
Hiya, Slugger.
locate Dad.
dad link? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that was always cool as a kid. Like, find
Yeah.
dad now, and yeah. I mean, this
Fine.
movie is there's some death attempts. There's some there's some killing going on, or at least some attempts to kill some people.
Well, I mean, at the very end, he tries to actually shoot Richie.
Well, he tries to blow up his parents.
I'll
He
try,
tries to
yeah.
shoot Richie. Tries
Hmm.
to kill them with the laser for the Mount
Right,
Rushmore.
right.
They put them all in that little cage that was going to put them in that
Like,
machine in the scientist laboratory.
yeah, they were supposed to come out as bedpans or something like that.
Exactly, which that would have been some crazy crap there. That would have
True.
been some
Yeah.
David Cronenberg stuff if that had happened. Become that kind of movie.
Oh, another thing that I liked that I thought was funny was when Cadbury goes to prison and
Oh yeah,
he
the
has to
toothpaste.
fight the guy. The toothpaste
Yeah,
scene. Yeah. He just comes out with look like a biker. Like,
and then I think it's Gloria's mom that goes, Cadbury? Does she do that where she goes, Cadbury? Like something like that?
something like that, yeah. But
Yeah.
she calls him something that he called her, and it offended her.
Oh, ma'am, was it McMahon or
No,
something
it
like
wasn't
that?
Matt. It was a word. I don't remember the word right now. But he kind of
Mm.
like lower class kind of thing.
Oh,
Called
okay,
her,
yeah.
and then she calls it to him, and he's like,
You know they were hooking up after the movie.
No, I mean, they kissed at the
Those
end. It was like,
those characters.
of course, of course, of course.
And then you think Richie and Gloria got together? They had a little thing.
Yeah, they had a little crush.
She was a little fiery redhead.
You can tell she had a crush on him.
Nah, she
Mm.
just wanted him for his money. I'm just kidding. She was a little fiery
Young.
redhead though, you know. I feel like I knew girls like that growing up, those little like spunky tomboys that, had a little like a Brooklyn or Bronx attitude to them. Like I don't know where this movie takes place, but like those kids were like plucked right out of like a New York City casting call.
Maybe that's the part where they shot in Chicago.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they each had their own little identity. Like you said, the kid that looked like yeah from Sandlot, he was like the little Italian kid,
They
or
got the other
the
kid that
fat
keeps
Asian kid.
eating
Yeah.
something.
There's always one that's always eating. They always had the stereotypical fat kid who was Asian they did. I mean, they were pretty mixed in this movie. And then you
Yeah,
had the one black kid,
yeah.
and then there was Gloria, and that was the whole
Right.
group. So I don't think there was any others. So, and then you had the pure white bread, blonde hair, rich boy. I mean, this movie has some commentary. Like, yeah, the the
Pretty
the the
much.
redheaded, the black kid, the little Italian boy. They're the
Yeah,
poor
yeah.
class.
Little
The
Asian,
the
then the
the, the
white
white
rich kid,
blonde hair, blue
blue
eye.
eyes.
They don't, and that's why we watch these movies. And some people go, "Does that sit well?" But you know what? Fuck those people. You're overthinking it. Turn your brain off and just watch Richie Rich
Just watch
because,
it to be entertained. You don't have to analyze the damn thing.
well, that's what we do, I guess, aren't we? Aren't we analyzing the movie?
You know what I mean. Don't compare it to modern age.
This is cinema, Chris. This was 1990. Man, I'm still telling you, 1994 was like the greatest year for movies ever.
Everything came out that was awesome.
From kids' movies like the ones we
Yeah.
covered, like Little Giants, D2 the Mighty Duck. Well, we didn't cover that, but D2 the Mighty Ducks,
Blank
Blank
check.
Check, I think we said was 94. This was 94. I'm sure
Oh,
there were some
Angels
other.
in the Outfield. Wasn't that in the 90s?
That
Was
was
it?
the 90s. That
Yeah,
that might have been 94 even, or
I think
maybe, or
so.
90, 94, maybe 95. And then just, you had like your big movies like, Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank
Right.
Redemption, action movie like Speed. Like, man, there was just the list goes on and
They're
on.
popping up everywhere. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is, they were all original stories for the most part. They weren't remakes. They weren't just
Well, I might argue with that one. Original. I
okay,
mean,
maybe not
Shawshank.
original, but I know everything's
They
based
weren't they
on
weren't
something.
sequels. Yes, they weren't. Well, except D2 the Mighty Ducks, but they weren't. Yeah, they weren't technically like sequels. Like nowadays, you're gonna go to the movie and you're gonna go see a movie that's not original, most likely.
No, it's not original. It's either a remake or a sequel that's just been sitting there trying to be made, and I'm like, what's the point? It's been 30 years. I don't want to
Well,
see.
speaking of sequels, end on this. Have you seen Richie Rich's Christmas Wish, the unofficial, well, kind of official, unofficial sequel to this movie? It was like a TV movie, I think.
I did not even know that existed until I looked it up trying to find this movie. I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell is Christmas Wish? What is this?
I remember that as a kid. It was like a TV movie. I think it came out
Okay.
like 5 or 6 years after this one came out. Different cast, but still same
Okay.
characters. Basically, that one is I think he makes a wish that he doesn't want to be Richie Rich anymore, and then it's kind of
Oh,
like It's a Wonderful Life, where it's just like him, but like nobody knows who he is.
right.
So he
Gotcha.
has to like kind of find his way to like get back to
I didn't know that
being Richie
existed.
Rich. Yeah, it's got the kid from like Seventh Heaven in it, and some other people.
That's
So.
so random.
We'll do that next year Chris or this year Christmas time. So we'll have to keep that in the
Well, if we're
mindset.
doing
Richie
stuff like
Rich's
that, we
Christmas
gotta
wish.
put Star Wars Christmas special.
Nah, I think I'm good on that.
No, no, you sure?
Nah, nah, think we're good.
Well,
All
thank
right,
you
Chris, final
for.
thoughts?
I mean, final thoughts. It's an entertaining movie, especially if you were a kid watching this, millennials. Uh, it's I don't know. If you like Home Alone, you'll probably like this one too. If you're a big Macaulay Culkin fan,
Yeah, it's just it's fun and simple.
yeah,
It's what it's all kids needed in the 90s, man. They just wanted to pop in a video for 90 minutes and actually watch it, not get
yeah,
distracted by anything else going on.
yeah. Just sit and watch
Honestly,
the movie.
it's probably one of those movies as a kid, maybe you'd watch it and then you'd rewind it and you'd pop it in again or watch it a few times, you know? Because like what else were you doing?
If it's on, I'll definitely watch it, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't mind just it's on this channel. Yeah, sure, let's do this. You know? I don't mind watching Richie Rich all the time.
I could call you out for bootlegging the watching the movie,
Shh, we don't talk about that.
but anyways, well, this has been fun talking another 90s classic, bringing back our old nostalgia. We'll see if we keep the train going. I don't know what we're doing for next week. You know, I have some thoughts, I have some ideas. We'll see if we stick in this decade or if we decide
Mhm.
to go elsewhere. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I just went and saw the Goonies with my mom over the weekend and
Nice.
had a fun time there. So
I
I was
almost
thinking that could
watched.
be a
I was gonna say I almost watched the Heavyweights the other day.
ooh, that's a good one.
Uh,
That'd be a fun episode to do. That's a great movie. But anyways, Richie Rich is great. Reminds me of money. Reminds me of the color behind Chris here, who, yeah, I think he
Ching.
now owes me like $70. So let's just keep it going.
Zero.
Anyway, so that's that. Chris, you take it from here.
Cut print. Moving on.
All right, Chris, change that color to red because there's about to be some blood if you don't pay me my money.